Since inflation is going to the roof this year, many people worry about inflation and its effects on their life. In our previous video we spoke about David Rubenstein, who said, not to worry about inflation. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how to protect yourself from the consequences, and some tips on how to make the most of it. A lot of people don't know what it is or how it can hurt them, but I'm going to show you exactly what it is and how you can protect yourself. So stay tuned, because this could be the most important video you watch all year. Make sure you watch the video until the end, because I have added an additional bonus tip that you don't want to miss. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell. Number 1. What is inflation and how does it impact our economy? Inflation is when the prices of goods and services start to rise. This happens when the demand for these items goes up but the supply stays the same, or when the Federal Reserve keeps printing money. The result is that each unit of currency buys less than it did before. In other words, your dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. While a little inflation is good for the economy, it encourages spending and investment. Too much inflation can be very harmful. It can lead to high interest rates, wage stagnation, and even economic recession. Number 2. How to protect yourself from the consequences of inflation. There are a few things you can do to protect yourself from the effects of inflation. Save your money. One of the best ways to protect yourself from inflation is to make sure you have some savings. That way, if prices start to go up, you'll still have some extra cash to help you out. Invest in assets. Another good way to safeguard against inflation is to invest in assets such as property, cryptocurrency, or stocks. These tend to go up in value when inflation is high, so you'll be able to make a profit. Get insurance. If you're worried about inflation eating into your savings, you can take out an insurance policy that will pay you a set amount of money each year, no matter what happens to prices. Number 3. What are some creative ways to save money during times of high inflation? If you're looking for ways to save money during periods of high inflation, there are a few things you can do. Cut back on unnecessary spending. This is an obvious one, but it's important to remember that every little bit counts when inflation is high. So, if you can cut back on luxuries and non-essentials, it'll help you save money in the long run. Find cheaper alternatives. Another way to save money is to find cheaper alternatives for the things you need. For example, if you normally buy branded products, see if there are any generic equivalents that are just as good but cost less. You can barter. If you're really struggling to make ends meet, you could try bartering with people instead of buying things outright. For example, if you need your car repaired, you could offer to do some work for the mechanic in exchange for a discount. Number 4. Consequences for not protecting yourself from inflation. If you don't take steps to protect yourself from inflation, it can have some serious consequences for your finances. Here are a few of the most common problems. Your savings will be worth less. This is perhaps the most obvious consequence of inflation. If prices go up but your savings don't, then the purchasing power of your money will decrease. In other words, you won't be able to buy as much with your savings as you could before. You'll struggle to keep up with payments. If inflation is high and your income doesn't increase to match, you'll find it difficult to make ends meet. This is because the cost of living will go up but your wages won't, so you'll have less money to cover your expenses. You could get into debt. If you can't keep up with your payments, you may be forced to take out loans or use credit cards to cover the shortfall. This can quickly lead to a spiral of debt that can be very difficult to escape from. Number 5. What happens when a country experiences hyperinflation? Hyperinflation is a situation where prices rise very rapidly, often by hundreds or even thousands of %. This can lead to a complete collapse of the economy and can be extremely harmful to the people who live in that country. Think about Venezuela. Some of the consequences of hyperinflation include: people struggle to afford basic necessities. When prices are rising very quickly, it can become difficult for people to afford basic things like food and shelter. This can lead to poverty and even starvation. The currency becomes worthless. In extreme cases of hyperinflation, the currency may become completely worthless. This makes it very difficult to conduct any kind of trade or business, as no one will want to accept the currency. The government may collapse. If hyperinflation is not dealt with quickly, it can lead to the complete collapse of the government. This can lead to a breakdown in law and order, as well as economic chaos. If you made it this far, then you definitely deserve the bonus, so let's go to that one. Before we go to the bonus, let us know in the comments how you're going to prevent yourself from the inflation, so we can learn from each other during this challenging times. Number 6. The bonus subject. Something that most people don't know is, if you're currently in debt, inflation is your friend. In fact, it's one of the few things working in your favor. As prices go up, the real value of your debt goes down. So, if you have a $100,000 mortgage at an interest rate of 4%, and inflation is running at 2%, then in reality you're only paying 2% interest on your loan. Of course, this only works if you don't have an adjustable rate mortgage. If your interest payments go up along with inflation, then you're actually worse off. In general, debt is a good thing during periods of high inflation. Just make sure that you don't have too much of it, and that you can afford the repayments if interest rates rise. Our conclusion: inflation can be a good or bad thing, depending on your circumstances. If you're in debt, it can help you to reduce the real value of what you owe. However, if you're on a fixed income, it can erode your purchasing power and make life difficult. I hope you've enjoyed this video, learned how inflation can affect you. At least now you know how to prevent yourself from it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.